Shalom. Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shabbat. Double honors to the elders of GMS. Coming at you with another video, news and current events. We're gonna bring out a couple scriptures, and start off with this article.
All praise to Yahweh Shem Yahweh.
All praise to Yahweh Shem Yahweh. I got another article right here. It's called Texas Judge Rules Schools Can Force RFID Chips on Students. It's from January 9th, 2013.
Hold it up real quick, so I can get it.
Now, you probably heard of the article of the girl in Texas where she was refusing RFID chips because she basically think it's the mark of the beast. It's in the form of a ID card, but this is one step close to the mark of the beast. Can you give me Revelation 13:16?
Revelation chapter 13, verse 16. He calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or at the name of the beast, or the number of his name.
And basically, what they're doing is they're basically trying to implement this chip, but first they're going to implement it through a ID card type thing. Now this is starting in the Texas school system. This is in the fall of last year. The San Antonio Northside School District in Texas announced that they would track students with RFID, radio frequency identification chips, in their student badges. It says one student, sophomore Andrea Hernandez, was suspended for refusing to wear a tracking device and taking the matter to court. So basically, she took this matter to court because she refused to wear that badge that tracks the students. Now, this started off in the San Antonio school district, but this thing right here is gonna go to other school districts. Pretty soon, it's gonna come to districts in the Northeast, all over the South, because it's a lot of money at stake with these devils. They make money off of this, and the schools make money because when they keep track of their students or whatever. So the scriptures say he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, to take the chip. But this is just the basically the radio frequency ID in their badges. Pretty soon they're gonna put it in their right hand or forehead pursuant to the scriptures. This is nothing but a dry run. This is a test run. And you see, she's one of the only students that bucked up against the system, and she's catching help. So she's basically, her parents have to take it to court, and this case might go to the Supreme Court. Joe Biden said, mark my words, you will rule on implantable devices, Can you read that again?
Revelation 13:16. He causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name.
Well, this chip basically denied this girl of going to, partaking in student events, extracurricular activities and stuff like that. She has to basically go through another lunch line when she goes to her lunch, when she buys her lunch and stuff like that. So basically, we're putting sanctions on her because she doesn't want to take this chip. Well, she doesn't want to wear this chip around her neck. It says on Tuesday, U.S. District Judge Orlando Garcia ruled in favor of the school district, claiming they have the right to expel Hernandez for refusing to abide by school requirements. By default, the judge ruled that the school had the right to force children to be treated like cattle while on campus. The program, called the Student Locator Project, is aimed at increasing students' attendance rates, presumably to boost in public funding for the district. There is something fundamentally disturbing about the school district's insistence on steamrolling students into complying with programs that have nothing whatsoever to do with academic priorities and everything to do with fattening school coffers, said John Whitehead of the Rutherford Institute when he took the case. As part of the pilot program, roughly 4,200 students at Jay High School and Jones Middle School are being required to wear smart ID card badges embedded with an RFID tracking chip, which will make it possible for school officials to track students' whereabouts on campus at all times. School officials hope that by expanding the program to the district's 112 schools, they can secure up to $1.7 million in funding from state government. The Hernandez family argued that the RFID badges violated their daughter's privacy rights and referred them as the mark of the beast, a reference to a warning in the book of Revelations. The primary defense was not to challenge the obvious privacy issues involved with the badges, but to seek a religious exemption. The judge ruled that the badge is not grounded in her religious beliefs and is a secular choice rather than a religious concern. The Supreme Court has made clear that government officials may not scrutinize or question the validity of an individual's religious beliefs, and said John W. Whitehead, president of the Rutherford Institute, in a statement. By declaring Andrea Hernandez's objection to be a secular choice and not grounded in her religious beliefs, the district court is placing itself as an arbiter of what is and is not religious. Got a scripture out?
No.
Okay. It says, I want the scripture on Proverbs. It says, when the righteous don't do that.
All right.
This is simply not permissible under our constitutional scheme, and we plan to appeal this immediately, he added. The court originally agreed to block the suspension to hear the case, but would not extend that request for the appeals process. In coming to Andrea's defense, Rutherford attorney has alleged that the school's attempt to penalize, discriminate, and retaliate against Andrea violates her rights under Texas Religious Freedom Act and the First and 14th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, said Rutherford's lawyer. Hey, so basically, we talking about the mark of the beast, man. Basically, when it comes down to them implementing what they want to implement, this government, they're not gonna regard religious beliefs, religious merits. They're not gonna regard anything. We're gonna push this agenda, and the judicial system is gonna be with it.
It's Proverbs 29:2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. Yeah, so when the righteous are in authority, which the righteous are in authority right now, the people rejoice. But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. And basically, this is what this girl and her family is doing. They're mourning right now because basically they so-called believe in the Bible, and some draconian measures are being pushed upon them that they don't want to accept. And basically, they're trying to fight it, And basically, this is all about pushing that agenda, So this is one step closer to Revelations 13 and 16, and this is how this is going to play out throughout the country, They're going to be implementing draconian measures, and basically through Obamacare, and what's going to happen is people are going to buck up against it. And they're going to look to the judicial system for help, and they're not going to find it, basically. So this is a small synopsis. I got another article. It's a little quick article. North Carolina police lieutenant warns of plans for martial law in 2013. And brothers, through the spirit of Yahweh by Shemi Awashah, we've been warning, people of the coming martial law, the build-up of the police state in America, and the coming flood of troops that's going to come into your neighborhoods. So this is a North Carolina police lieutenant warns of plans for martial law. And this is from
shithitsthefan.plan.com, and basically you can access this. It's they have the actual interview of the guy speaking. But I'm gonna read it it's quick. In this broadcast of the Cyber Tribe News Network, a North Carolina police lieutenant calls in to give his first-hand knowledge of preparations being made within his own department to train and prepare for martial law in the United States, possibly in the coming year. Many similar reports are starting to trickle in from all across the country through various independent media sources and even organizations like Oath Keepers. The census is that a major economic event is expected and that it will be used to provide cover for the institution of draconian policies being ready behind the curtain. The exact timing of this event is not clear, but we do know the planning is being done and that provisions are being put in place. The following officers' omissions are another starting indicator of just how close the precipitous like we are ready. We really are. Like, basically, they're ready to implement martial law and move on you so-called Negroes, West Indians, and Latinos.
This is second Ezra, chapter 15. We started 10. Behold, my people is led to the flock, is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt. We jump down, verse 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power.
Yeah, the course of their actions shall stand in their power. Now, going back to the time when Bush was in office, the American people, they've been begging for change. They've been begging for America to go into a new direction. But America hasn't got better. And America's not going to get better. Actually, it's going to get worse, man. So when this society collapses, basically, which they're planning for, these different law enforcement agencies and these different paramilitary groups, got militias planning, preparing. Well, basically, when it happens, the course of their actions are going to stand in their power. They're going to come up against the government, man. And the government is going to come up against the citizens. So it's going to be a major clash, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power, So, basically.
Verse 17, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. Well, that's talking about martial law, because, when someone wants to go into a city and not able, there's some type of force stopping that. You also see that in that movie I Am Legend, how they blew up the bridges at the same time martial law was in effect. And that's what the brother was bringing out in the article, how martial law is going to be implemented in society. And then right before, if you read this chapter, in the 11, 12, and 13 verse, it talks about how the Most High plagued Egypt from before. And this is spiritual Egypt again, so this place is going to get plagued. Brothers been talking about how the flu been running rapid in America, and how America's been plagued with the flu, or has been plagued more than any industrial country in the world, and America's at the top in that category. And it's just like in ancient Egypt, when the Most High destroyed ancient Egypt and destroyed Pharaoh and his armies. It's going to be the same concept of the new Egypt, where the plague's going to hit things like the chip that when the brother brought out in the article prior to the one he just brought out with the RFID chip, and then simultaneously you have the RFID chip. Martial law, where the military take force, and the police and basically the police, they have no control over the people. In fact, the police are going to take force against the government because they're paying citizens themselves. They're regular law, quote unquote, abiding citizens themselves. So they're going to be taking force. Matter of fact, and then, you know, I always mention the movie Gangs of New York, how you've seen it in that movie where the police, they even took force and they went to go get the fight against the politicians that were implementing laws that were basically oppressing the people even more, because they were asking for $300 in the time of the late 1840s to either you paid $300 or you had to it was a draft or to go into war. So that's a drastic price at that point in time, $300. And elders was even talking about in the early 1900s how $5 would get you pay your food, your month worth of rent, and that was the early 1900s. So imagine what $300 was back in the 1840s. You're talking about, it's probably like $50,000 now. You know, I'm just winging it, but it's something drastic to where you're not going to be able to dip and dodge from the effects of what's to come in America. You know, and I'm gonna read this part again. It says, "For the sword and the destruction draweth nigh." This is verse 15 of chapter 15, the second Ezra. For the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. And that's first and foremost talking about race riots. And all this is the trickle effect of what's to come here in America. And basically, you're going to have race riots, and then you're going to have class riots. Because who's implementing all these unjust laws? It's the bankers, the politicians. The elders said it in the video, you know, from last week, or the week before, talking about how they're gonna be in front of Washington, marching in front of Capitol Hill, in front of the White House, so-called, whatever, and they're gonna be over there saying, "Yo, where's the benefits of the labor from this country?" Because pretty much the American people are being squeezed. Taxes are being raised. The jobs are being cut. Pay is getting cut. So you have your resources. The prices of your resources are being raised, but your income is being lowered. Where that's just ass backwards, you know.
Got precept. It's Proverbs chapter 13, verse 11. Wealth gotten by vanity shall be diminished, but he that gathereth by labor shall increase.
Right. Because the thing is that America was built up off the labor of other people. It was built up off the labor of the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Alright? So you're not America's not gonna reap off that. You know, can you read that again out from the top right?
Proverbs 13 and 11. Wealth gotten by vanity shall be diminished.
Right, and that's how they got this country, by vanity. And it's going to be diminished through the spirit of Yahweh Shemi Shah, because you chose to put the children of Israel to work. You know? And that's just what it is, man. You touch the apple of the Most High's eye, and this place is going to get diminished. We got a couple scriptures on that topic. You know, so there's a saying in the world: what goes up must come down. What goes around comes back around, and that's what's happening in America's society, man. America had its time; it was flourishing, you know. And the only reason you can buy a month worth of groceries for $5 was because the silver and gold storage was high, and the dollar was actually had a higher worth. The measure of the dollar had a mass weight. You supposed to say something?
Hey, well, no.
You got it out. You got it.
Cause I lost my train of thought.
It's all good.
Hey,
this is Proverbs 10. I'm gonna start verse 2. Treasures of wickedness profit nothing, but righteousness delivereth from death. The Lord will not suffer the soul of the righteous to famish, but he casts away the substance of the wicked. You know, and basically the treasure of wickedness profited nothing. That's the treasure of, you know, slavery here in America. That's how this America got to flourish so quickly. Matter of fact, was it the 18, yeah, in the late 1840s, they had the gold